Hey there, welcome back to my channel. And today we're going to discuss a hearing, a disturbing hearing that was held in Washington, D.C. on December 12th, 2023. It was held by the Department of Homeland Security, its Permanent Subcommittee for Investigations. The purpose of the hearing was to hear from past and current female cadets and female officers of the United States Coast Guard and those who have and who are attending the United States Coast Guard Academy. I have the article right here. I'm going to put a link to it. It's from CNN. It's about 5 pages long, but it's very detailed, and I am not going to read the details because they are very disturbing. And it's something that has gone on at the Coast Guard Academy and at the Coast Guard, as per this hearing, since the 1980s when women first entered the Coast Guard Academy. Now, the first class of women graduated from the Coast Guard Academy in 1980. All the service academies but the United States Merchant Marine Academy had graduates, their first female graduates, in 1980. The Merchant Marine Academy had their first female graduates in 1978, making them the first service academy to graduate females. However, it appears by this report that the Coast Guard Academy has not done a very good job of protecting their female cadets and their female officers from sexual abuse and sexual harassment. I find this actually very disturbing because I am familiar with what goes on at the Naval Academy and what goes on at the Merchant Marine Academy, and I have to say that this stuff would never fly. So once again, I'm going to leave this for you to read. I'm just going to hit a couple of points here. We'll read a couple of things to you. Let me find the passage here that I highlighted. This is from one of the females who's a retired lieutenant right now. And she said, "I have repeatedly witnessed senior leaders dismiss substantiated reports of harassment, assault, abuse, and retaliation in order to shield fellow officers and friends from any form of disciplinary action." And this lady is a retired Coast Guard lieutenant. She's a graduate of the Coast Guard Academy. I'm sure she did her time and was promoted to lieutenant and then left the Coast Guard. There's allegations of rape, physical abuse, harassing, hazing, on and on at the Coast Guard Academy. What I can say, though, is that every academy has its time in the barrel for something. The Air Force Academy had a religious scandal out there where people of certain religious denominations were harassed and abused. They went through that. There was a allegation of racial discrimination, which turned out to be untrue, but there was a sub-lying problem there at the Air Force Academy. Naval Academy has had its cheating scandals with the football team. That's recent. The Military Academy, West Point, has had its cheating scandals also. And the Merchant Marine Academy has had instances of sexual abuse and sexual violence. However, not at that academy, but at sea during their sea year training. So like I said, every academy has its problems. And because they are a service academy and people from those academies get held to higher standards, it's right there in the public eye. But this report is really disturbing. So I do suggest that you read it, you prepare yourself for it. So one thing I will say about the Coast Guard, I find interesting about the Coast Guard is the Coast Guard is the smallest service in the United States. It is not a DoD service; it's a Department of Homeland Security service. But the Coast Guard is very incestuous. If you did not go to the Coast Guard Academy, your chance of reaching flag rank are like 0 to none. And you just go look up the United States Coast Guard, the flag officers, and just about everyone went to the Coast Guard Academy. All the senior leadership under those flag officers are basically Coast Guard Academy graduates. So they are a very incestuous group. They all stick together and they all know each other because they're a very small operation. However, with that said, would I want my daughter or my friend's daughter to go to the Coast Guard Academy? And the answer would be yes. I think stuff like this coming out is a good thing. I think it opens the door, it puts sunlight on the problem. It makes not only those who are there at the academy and in the Coast Guard aware that there's a problem and aware that they have to do something, but also oversight from the Department of Homeland Security, that's the Secretary, the senators, Congress, the Board of Visitors, all those are aware that they have to keep an eye on the Coast Guard Academy and they have to do what's right for the females there and in the Coast Guard. I have a lot of good things to say about the Coast Guard Academy. The Coast Guard Academy puts out a fine officer. They have probably their selection process. They're not tied to the congressional nomination process, so they can pick whoever they want from wherever they want in the United States, and they can pick the best and the brightest. And it doesn't matter if they're all from like the state of Rhode Island. If 200 incoming cadets are the smartest in the United States and they're all from Rhode Island, that's fine. The programs there are great. The opportunities there are great. Surprisingly enough, with a report like this, they have the highest percentage of females of all the service academies and probably the highest percentage of females in leadership roles. So would I recommend my daughter or anybody else's daughter to go there? Definitely would. But you know, stuff goes on, and I think a report like this is good that it sheds sunlight on it. So be prepared, read the report, put it in context, and understand that because it's a service academy, it's not heaven, it's another place on earth where things happen that shouldn't happen and have to be corrected. So thank you so much for watching this, and have a good day, and I hope you get what you want in the coming year. Bye now.